it too. The millennials are here with me. All right, he is the Democratic congressman representing New York's 15th district, who at 25 years old became New York City's youngest elected official and is the first Afro-Latino LGBTQ member of Congress. Representative Ritchie Torres is over here. She is editor of the newsletter Common Sense on Substack and host of the podcast Honestly with Bari Weiss. Bari Weiss is over here. Okay. So you heard what I was bitching about in the monologue. Let's talk about the bit of a reset, I think, going on in the world with COVID. I've been asking for it for a long time. I see in Europe, a lot of the leaders are now saying, we have to live with it. Boris Johnson said it. We have to live with it. It's not going away. Treat it like the flu. Some of the things they're doing in the UK, now that they're not doing anymore, they're ending mandated face masks, masks in school, that's gone. Work from home advisories, nope. Mandatory passports to get into nightclubs and large events. Legal requirement to self-isolate. No. They're getting back to normal. We should follow this, I think. What do you think?
Should I leave it to the congressman?
I think we've been gradually transitioning to normal. I mean, the public health response has become less draconian and more measured over time as the pandemic has become more manageable, and that's because of the success of the vaccination campaign. The Biden administration has presided over the vaccination of more than 200 million Americans, which has been effective.
But now that, yeah, okay.
I'm done.
With this question?
No, I'm done with COVID.
Oh,
I'm done. It's
yeah.
like I went so hard on COVID. I
remember.
Sprayed the Pringles cans that I bought at the grocery store, stripped my clothes off because I thought COVID would be on my clothes. Like, I did it all. I watched Tiger King. I got to the end of Spotify. Like, we all did it, right? And
no, we didn't all do it.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of us did do it. And then we were told, you get the vaccine. You get the vaccine and you get back to normal. And we haven't gotten back to normal. And it's ridiculous at this point. I know that so many of my liberal and progressive friends are with me on this, and they do not want to say it out loud because they are scared to be called anti-vax or to be called science denial or to be, smeared as a Trumper. I'm sorry, if you believe the science, you will look at the data that we did not have 2 years ago, and you will find out that cloth masks do not do anything. You will realize that you can show your vaccine passport at a restaurant and still be asymptomatic and carrying Omicron. And you will realize, most importantly, that this is going to be remembered by the younger generation as a catastrophic moral crime. The city of Flint, Michigan.
Flint still doesn't have clean water!
Which is 80%, I think, minority students, has just announced indefinite virtual schooling. In the past 2 years, we've seen among young girls a 51% increase in self-harm. People are killing themselves. They are anxious. They are depressed. They are lonely. That is why we need to end it, more than any inconvenience that it's been to the rest of us. I think it's a pandemic. It's like, at this point, it's a pandemic of bureaucracy. It's a pandemic of bureaucracy. It's not real anymore.
Let's not forget that, the pandemic has left the death count of more than 850,000 Americans.
Well, that's a...
Yes, but it was
a squishy...
Yes, but Richie, it was a blunt instrument, okay? If you look at who was affected by this, 803 children have died in the past 2 years. In the entire country, from and with COVID.
I guess I offer a perspective. I was a New Yorker who lived through the early weeks and early months of the pandemic. And it was just a catastrophe for New York City, the likes of which we've never seen. We saw overflowing emergency rooms. New York lost more than 60,000 people. The Bronx alone lost more than 7,000 people, which is larger than the combined death toll of Pearl Harbor and 9/11. I saw mass graves in Hart Island in the Bronx. I mean, most New Yorkers saw a level of death and suffering we've never seen in our lives. And that's the source of the concern about COVID. I mean, I reject the notion that the response to COVID has been worse than the disease itself.
Well, I would argue with that. I mean, I asked for the COVID deaths by state. This is per 100,000 people. The worst is Mississippi. My home state of New Jersey, 4. Fourth worst. New York, 6th worst. West Virginia and Massachusetts are 10 and 11, right together. Could there be 2 states who are more unalike than West Virginia and Massachusetts? And the poster boy for keeping shit open was Florida. They're down at 17. So New York and New Jersey did worse than Florida. What I'm saying is...
Well, we did worse because we're a densely populated hub of international travel.
Well,
so
Florida should have done more. Florida is home to all the old people in America, so maybe they should have done more.
But the data is crystal clear, and this is beyond dispute, that the deaths and hospitalizations have been overwhelmingly concentrated among the unvaccinated. If you are fully vaccinated, you have a far lower risk of infection and hospitalization and death.
But that's not even the issue we're talking about now. We will get to it. What this is saying is Florida, like, stayed open. I mean, I was just in Florida.
Take a walk. Out the gate you go and never stop.
I've been there a few times since this started.
Half of New York has moved there.
The atmosphere is just different. I'm not moving to Florida. I'm not promoting Florida. I'm just saying AOC just went to Florida and had a good time without a mask hugging
Looked like
people.
she was having a blast.
Okay. I'm just saying, I've been to Florida. The atmosphere was just night and day from California, which was gloomy, and everything was, the Andromeda strain was out there, and you went to Florida. And I'm just saying, yes, there are different factors in different states, but basically, it's like they stayed open and went on with life, and they didn't do a hell of a lot worse, and maybe did better. So, to say, now, as far as you're thinking about the vaccines, what's so different from where we were 2 months ago, the last time I sat here, is that we now know the vaccine does not stop you from getting it. I found that out when I got it. I mean, I got it, and everyone was like, oh my God, how'd you get it? You had the vaccine. I guess I was one of the first, and now everybody has it. It doesn't stop you from getting it, and it doesn't stop you from transmitting it. It stops you from dying when you do get it. Yeah,
that's a pretty good reason to take the vaccine.
But I'm not saying it's not a good reason. I'm just saying that's a huge difference, and it counteracts the argument that we need the vaccine to protect other people. It just protects you. It doesn't protect you from me. Doesn't protect me from getting it. It protects you. So it's just really about you now.
But the main point is this. Every adult in America has had access to this vaccine for more than a year. Obviously, I ran to get it the second I could, probably a second before I should have. But the point is that if you're choosing not to get it, which I think is a foolish decision, we are not stopping the world for the sake of those foolish people. In the same way, we wouldn't intervene for the people who, like me, want to eat a Big Mac every day. It's just not that's not how we can proceed.
And about the science, you know, the people, this is, I think, where Democrats look bad. Like, we're the people of science. And then a lot of what they do has nothing to do with science, like suggesting you wear masks outside. It's an amulet.
Yes.
You know, something, a charm people wear around neck to ward away evil spirits. It means nothing. There's no science to that.
Or preschoolers having to be fitted for special KN95 masks.
Or that the virus can get me when I'm walking in a restaurant, but not when I'm sitting down.
Exactly. I mean,
you know, there's so much mindless bureaucracy.
I think, like,
Kyrie Irving can play on the road, but not home games. It's just stupid.
Look, for me, there's no greater assault on science than the attempt to delegitimize vaccination. I mean, if it were not for vaccination, we would have never eradicated polio for the United States and smallpox.
No one's arguing that point.
Trump's talking about how he's gotten a booster. I mean,
well, Trump is an exception. Apparently, I mean, Trump is more rational.
Yes, he is.
On vaccines than the rest of the Republican Party.
But the Supreme Court just ruled on this, and when we found out what some of the justices said,
They were listening to NPR all the time.
Exactly. It showed that they were just like every other liberal or conservative. They all listened to their own media zones. And Sotomayor said we have over 100,000 children in serious condition and many on ventilators. At the time, there were fewer than 5,000. She also said it was a blood-borne virus. Blood-borne virus?
It was...
I mean, that's really ignorant for a Supreme Court justice. So don't be we're the people who believe in science, but you don't have the facts. I read this before, like 41% of Democrats last year thought that over 50% of people who got COVID were hospitalized. It was less than 1%. Hospitalization rate for the vaccinated is actually 0.01%, and the rate for the unvaccinated is 0.89%. So in both cases, the correct answer is less than 1%. They thought it was over 50. How do people, especially of one party, get such a bad idea? Where did that come from?
But I'm sorry, if you're watching cable news all day, that's what you're going to think. There is misinformation, and not just on podcasts and the internet. It's also on cable news.
Right.
I think the biggest thing to me about the Democrats is, present company excluded, I think is amazing, and I hope the future of the Democratic Party is this man.
He's trying to toe the line tonight for him, I see.